All right. We are almost good to go, everybody. Oh dear, I've been on mute this whole time. That's fun. Okay. Whoops. That is entirely my bad, everybody. I'm so sorry. I will say some of those things again. I will not say them all again, but had a pretty okay week. The puppy is doing absolutely amazing. Some of you asked about that. Some of my friends did. We left the hospital. We're now eating and everything. Unfortunately, though, Thursday morning, my grandmother passed, and unfortunately, it was the grandmother that all of us really loved and adored. And it just was a little bit tough after having to put our dog down, and then the puppy got sick, and then this happened. It was a little bit of a rough week, but that is why you have hobbies. It is healthy to have something to do just as a little bit of a distraction sometimes. And what we're doing with this base coat here is we're just laying down a little bit of a foundation, especially in this underneath area, to kind of just make it a little bit easier to get some variation in color when we apply some other colors on top of it. But yeah, this the breed that we got for the puppy was a poodle Australian Shepherd, otherwise known as an Aussie Poo mix, that we absolutely fell in love with. And yeah, he's too smart for our own good. He's picking up some stuff really well, and other stuff he's just too smart about. Okay, anything else we want to do in that kind of style here? I don't think so. I'm going to try just to do a layer of, what is it called? Argos dunes on these boots here. Or, yeah, Agoros dunes. We're going to try and do just a layer of that on the what do you call it? Boots here. Is this? Oh no, this is turned around. Oops. I like to have little magnets. There we go. And we'll use some lanthanum medium. I like using lanthanum medium to blend the contrast paints together as opposed to the actual contrast medium. I love using the Citadel contrast medium to actually thin down the paint, but when I'm blending them and such, I do like to use the lanthanum. And we're going to use this and let me see here. Do I have anything else I want to use instead? Can't think of anything. So we're going to use this one, and we'll use some skeletal art. If I can find it. There it is. Right in front of me. But yeah, a little bit of a rough couple of weeks, but we're doing much better now. So I'm trying to get back to my regular streaming schedule, just twice a week. Obviously we are delayed on the YouTube videos. Actually, speaking of, we're live on there as well. I'll make sure I can see the chat for YouTube as well. There we go. Don't want to miss that. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a little bit of our skeletal horde. This is a pretty big area, so we're going to go for some bigger And I like to thin this down with lanthium medium, because it just seems to help it to blend together a little bit better, as opposed to the contrast medium, which does just thin out the paint. These are two very similar colors, so we might not get too much of a difference, but we'll get some. Whoa, throw the brush, very important. And there's our paints that we're using. Some skeletal art, some lanthium. We're using a nice big brush. And we're going to start on these feet. Now the skeletal horde is going to be a little bit lighter, so we'll start with that one here. Now we'll start to add in some of the darker one here. Kind of in these darker areas underneath. Ooh, an Abra. For those of you that are here to play the Pokemon catching game, that is a very fun Pokemon to try and catch. We're going to see if we can get it here real quick. Let's cross our fingers. Now you can see I am overpainting a little bit, but that's okay. Because the other areas around here we're going to do with a more solid pigment coat of paint, so we don't need to worry too much about it. There is our base coat of this down. Just gonna use our brush to kind of dab up a little bit of these spots where it pulled, and then kind of get a little bit more paint here on the skeletal horde area. Now it does look very similar. What we're going to do is, after it all dries a little bit, we're going to go back again with the Agrax Dunes and get another coat, especially in the darker areas. I'm digging that. I'm digging that. Now areas like this is a little bit tougher. We're going to start at the top. Just kind of dabbing it in there, letting the paint do the work for us. Oh no, no one caught the Abra. You can see I'm laying it on a little bit thicker here on this side because it's entirely in shadow. So we really want it to be darker than the other foot. But isn't that really cool how this paint kind of seeps in all those little crevices? It makes painting a lot easier, in my opinion. And we're going to go through and we're going to get a little bit of the darker color in here. Just because I want those lines, those deep crevices, to have a little bit more paint in them before our first coat here dries. There we go. Actually, we're going to go back here. Most of this. And then we're going to get another coat. Kind of this one's still semi-wet. We're going to clean this up a little bit. So we're going to dry off our brush. We're just going to use it here, as you can see, to mop up some of this paint that's kind of pooling around. Because that will dry, and we'll have to clean that up later. When you're doing big areas like this, it's usually best, especially if you've thinned down your paint with that lanthanum medium to kind of clean that up just a little bit. You can even clean it up here and then put it over here in a spot that's a little bit light. We're gonna make sure, give it once over here. Make sure we didn't just straight up miss any spots. Kind of do that circle technique we've been talking about, where we kind of divide it along an axis and follow it all the way around. So here I'm going around, I'm just making sure. You guys see where my brush is. Sorry, it's hard to do this with two hands while indicating what I'm doing with my eyes. I'm kind of going around here. Okay, that looks good. And then I kind of spin it. I start back here. Looks good over there. And up around the top. It looks good all the way there. Then we go over here and we just kind of do the same thing layer by layer. And there you see, right there, the boom, there's a spot that's a little bit lighter than I want it to be. So we just add a little paint in here. Okay. Good deal. I'm liking that. Alright, and now I'm going to clean this off because this is my clean one. This is my dirty one. I don't want the clean one to look like the dirty one here too soon. So we're going to give it a good quick wipe here. So I only missed a couple of streams, but with all of the stress and everything going on, it felt like a lot. Speaking of stress, I got some stress going on in my mouth here. Sorry, everybody. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Just a minute here. I'm having some issues with my computer. I will see if I can fix this real quick. Okay, I think we should be good now. Add some stuff trying to take up all my bandwidth in the background there. Ugh. Let's see here. Okay, we're good now. Alright. Okay. Digging it. Okay. That little nubbin right there has been annoying me for days. So we're just gonna, real quick, I'm just gonna use the nail file. Nothing crazy. There we go, and it's gone. That was bugging me. Okay, let's pick out the next thing that we're gonna touch. Let's do the stones. This stone stuff right here. Or no, do I want those to be metal or do I want them to be stone? Let me see if I can find a picture of this guy painted. Oops, it was a phone game I was playing. Let's see here. I guess you guys can see me. See the artistic cheating that we do here. Part of the things that I love about nature painting is one of the things that I also hate is it's real easy to get real creative, and it's real easy to just kind of coast if you want to. It looks like most people do it in metal. Ooh, I like doing it in a gold metal though. Or like a bronze. I like that. Or stone. I really do like the idea of him having stone armor, or at least the satchel being stone. So yeah, I think we'll do the kneecaps in like a stone, in like a a darker metal, because we're gonna have a really light chainmail. So we're gonna use gunmetal for this. And we're going to mix in just a little bit of the deep blue metallic blue. The deep metallic blue. So let's try and mix some paint here. And I like to add a little bit of color into my metallics, just because it kind of ties it in a little bit. It's kind of like undercoating them almost. Just dry. No, this isn't too dry, but we'll add a little bit of water in here to the wet palette. Oh yeah, it's soaking that right up actually. Again, Greg, if you watch this, I really love this. I wish I'd gotten to use it more, but life has really just... life's kicked me in the butt lately. Last couple weeks. Nothing bad happened to me for like 2 years. Actually, things have been going super great. And it's like, I had to get it all out of the way now. But that is just kind of the way of the universe sometimes. You just kind of sit down, crack on, you keep doing your meditations every day, and you just continue on that eightfold path. So we're gonna use plenty of the gunmetal here. Might have been a little too much, but I never get through paints anyway. And we'll try with just 1, 2, 3, 4 tiny little dots. We'll start with that. Let's see here. Okay. Let's go ahead and we'll just mix this up here. Perfect. That's very blue. It's much more blue than I was expecting, but I kind of dig it. Hey Shadow, you joined the stream. How are you doing? Very nice for you to stop by. And yes, life has just been kicking me in the butt a little bit. Trying to catch some monsters. Monster Sanctuary. See this game, if it's the one I'm thinking of. Oh yeah! I saw this game. It looked like a lot of fun. I almost got it. I think I almost got it on the Switch the other day. Is it a Switch game? Yeah, it's on the, or yeah, launched on Twitch. Oh, we had a Boldor. Do I have any special Pokeballs to catch a Boldor with? I don't know. I'm just gonna Poke-catch it. Yeah, it looks like it got a Switch release. I've had no luck with Pokemon tonight. Oh wait, I think I got this one actually. Yeah, I did. Guys, it's all turning around for me. This is it. This is the moment. Okay. Well, Shadow, you make sure that you catch your monsters, and I will call out the Pokemon as they come in. And I like that we're going to tie in the blue here, because it's going to really continue to make some of the pieces pop here. But here's the part where we start to be a little bit careful with our brush. So I switched to a smaller brush here, or one with a little bit more of a fine tip on it. Yeah, here we go. Here we go, you can see the colors starting to come together here. Oops. Looks like we missed a little bit of a spot here on our yellow. There we go. Oh, Shadow, if you don't mind, I can kind of chat at you about your miniature commission. I'm doing a job for Shadow. Okay. So, for anyone watching this, Shadow Sen, if you can see them in the chat there, he's having me paint a red dragon for him. And he picked out the model, and I, being myself, I just said, yeah, sure, I'll buy it and ship it to myself. And I didn't think too much of it when I ordered it. And it's unfortunately shipping from Romania, and apparently there's a lot of issues with post in Romania, or so the Etsy seller told me. And well, whether or not there's issues with the post, this Etsy seller's Etsy shop has unfortunately been put on pause, which is something that Etsy will do to your store if you have too many pending orders versus how many orders you have completed. And he does 3D printing as his business full-time, and doesn't do tracking on his orders because of the cost, which, had I known that ahead of time, I probably would have immediately been like, nah, never mind. And he does not have enough cash flow, I guess, in his business to refund orders. So the only option is to put it back into queue and have it complete the order, which is really frustrating because at this point, I think Shadow, how long have we waited? Almost 2.5 months for an order. Now I know that the original quoted time was a couple of weeks, which is perfectly normal for 3D printed miniatures, especially big ones. But oh my goodness. I just messaged him again day before yesterday because after the arrival date came and went and I had no updates, I said, hey, I don't know if you do tracking numbers, but I don't see any tracking posted. When can I expect this? And then I got the blurb about his Etsy shop being on pause and a little bit of a sob story about how it does suck that it puts his shop on pause, which I totally get, totally understand. But given how he had an automatic message already set up for it and all that other good stuff in his direct messages, it sounds like this isn't the first time this has happened. And it seems like he's very intimately familiar with the process. As well as judging by the reviews, it looks like it's either a 5-star, I absolutely loved it and you were able to get me a model, or a 1-star, I never got anything. And I did my normal internet sleuthing thing and looked through a lot of reviews. And, he's definitely a genuine seller, all that good stuff. So those aren't like fake reviews and such, but oh my goodness. I messaged him again. Let me see what it was. I'm going to share this tea. Let's see here. Yeah, on the 18th, he said, we need 12 days to reship the order. So I said, okay. So on the 27th, so a couple of days before the 30th rolled around, I said, hey, are we still on schedule to have this shipped out in the next couple of days? And I got the same Etsy forces our shop into vacation mode, blah, 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 blah. Tasks can only be done if we have an income. I don't like to tell other people how to do their business, but given that this is clearly a regular thing, you should be prepared for things like this at this point. He's been doing this for several years. And then he got back to me a couple days later, and he said, sadly, no, because of the avalanche of issues generated by Etsy when they suspended our account, which is really frustrating because the only avalanche of issues that I can see is that you aren't getting new orders, so it shouldn't affect old orders, especially orders from... When did we originally place this order? I'm on my Etsy seller account. I need to go to my buying account. when did we purchase this, Shadow? We purchased it on August 2nd. Yeah, he said, sadly, no, we aren't able to respect the deadline. We printed the MIDI and it's scheduled for post-processing in the next week or so. And I said, he said, are you okay with this? And I said, well, yeah, as it appears to be the only option to receive the order. And what was it? If customers start asking us for refunds, it'll be the end of us. So he doesn't offer refunds, which is actually a perfect. I did some looking it up, and yeah, as an Etsy seller, you can actually refuse to offer refunds. And the only recourse that Shadow and I have is to open an issue log with Etsy itself, which I don't want to do because he is still a guy that's very clearly a small business and just trying to print minis. But I mean, like, I dug into his about section on his website, and unfortunately, I know a lot about 3D printing, so like, kind of nipped him in the bud there a little bit because I know a little bit about 3D printing. I know a lot. I actually have a nice resin printer and done a lot of research, follow a lot of people on social media and YouTube, and yeah, it's a giant nightmare. But when you're talking about doing this as a full-time gig and you have 6 employees and you only have 6 LCD 3D printers, resin 3D printers, and that's all you have, and you're offering hundreds and hundreds of things in your store, thousands, at really good prices, you're gonna get overwhelmed with orders, especially if you only have 6 printers. Like, when you're talking about running at capacity, the issue too is like when you're looking at something like this and you're looking at the costs of your business. Let me see, what paint do I want to use here? Let's start with the gunmetal gray, actually. Look at that far. And your cost is only the cost of the Patreon supporter fee for a lot of these, because he doesn't actually like design the 3D models himself to print. He does what a lot of people do, which is a perfectly valid thing, which is you sign up for these Patreon accounts, which are monthly subscriptions, and all these companies, they come out with like huge, awesome sets of miniatures every single month. And you sign up at like the $45 tier or whatever it is, that allows you the ability to be a not distributor. What am I thinking of? I forget. Whatever it is, most of these places have like a tier where you're allowed to resell the prints. I'm gonna look that up real quick. So like, let's look up one that we know that he does. One sec here. Let's look at his store here. Yeah, okay. So, see here, seller. He might not show up because his store is on pause. Oh, but I guess I can look up anyone. Duh. Let's see, who made this? This is another guy that I bought from Magecraft Miniatures. I bought the Blue Dragon, which, by the way, Shadow, have you seen the Blue Dragon yet? Did I show that off on stream? I might not have. Let me know if I haven't, and I'll pull it out. You'll be very excited to see it. Let's see here. Who made this one? This is Lord of the Print. So we're going to go to Patreon. Let's see, find a creator. Yeah, Lord of the Print. So the cost for somebody to do these is $40. It's called Merchant Tier. Thank God I found that thing. So $40 a month plus your cost of your resin, electricity, whatever it is, which is pretty marginal. And then your post-processing time. It's $40 for the base creative bulk of most of your products is pennies. And frankly, if you were to do $40 a month on like 3 different sellers, you're looking at hundreds of models for just a couple $100 that you can print, and these are really beautiful models. And it's kind of blowing my mind that people have issues with cash flow, and yeah, it's just frustrating. Let's see. Let me see if another one. Artisan Guild. There it is. What's their merchant tier cost? Yes, I'm 18 years old. That one's only 30. Oh, 35. Because it looks like they sold out of their $30 membership level. I mean, it blows my mind that this is our cost basis, you know, plus resin, which I know how much resin costs, and I know how much it would cost in bulk, and we're having issues. Oh, Rattata. Alright, I'm gonna get that blue dragon real quick. Okay, I'm very excited for this. This is hopefully going to be coming up on another stream here soon. But here's the base for the model, and then we'll actually show off the dragon here itself here. Let's see here. Did a pretty good job of cleaning it up, and he also primed it. And I like that he primed it because, I mean, I understand why he primed it. I wish he hadn't primed it for us though. We'll have to reprime it in black. But if you've ever seen clear UV resin printed miniatures, they look god awful. Like, here, I'll show you here. Let's see if we can find one here. They never look good. Like, he looks really bad, but when you prime him, he will look very good. Let me see if I have an example of one that I primed. Yeah, here's a guy that I primed. He looks really great, right? And then here's an example of an unprimed guy. You can't really see any of the details, and he looks god awful. So I get it. I'm glad that this guy primes his stuff. If I were to resell miniatures, I would definitely do the same. But yeah, also 6 nice large resin, like LCD printers. That's, yeah, you're looking at a couple $1,000. Yeah, it seems like a lot, but when it's a full-time business and you have thousands of sales on Etsy, with your cost basis being what, less than $4 grand? Get it together and pay for tracking on your orders, because all he's doing is reprinting, and that's how you know how little he's actually having, like, in terms of cost on this stuff, is the fact that he's perfectly willing just to reprint things, but he cannot offer refunds. After less than a year and a half of being in operation, you have to have your shit together if you're going to just make it your full-time job. Because I think he said, like, after 8 months of printing things, he just quit his day job and did this. But anyway, this is the Magecraft minis. He was also delayed. Apparently his mother got sick and I felt really bad. But here is our dragon. A really, really good sculpt. And a pretty good print job. The only issue I have here is with the wings, but we'll be able to fix that. So, let's see if we can get the whole thing here. Yeah. Tell you what, I'll just hold these 2 wings on here. The only small issue I had was one tip of one wing broke off, but I mean, like, for how spiky this guy is, I was expecting a lot worse. And I would have been perfectly content with a lot worse. Alrighty, there's our hands. There's our dragon. So you guys can see it from the front. I am very excited. Alright, I'm just going to show you the wings. Wings are huge. Absolutely great. And he gave it to me in a sub-assembly, which is awesome. And here is the blue dragon. And this is the one that you guys all voted for to be the first gargantuan dragon that we painted. In like my first couple months on Twitch. Sorry everything's taken so long. A lot of life kicking me in the butt. But, you know, I think we always say it all the time, worse things have happened to better people. I'm gonna be okay. Very excited. Absolutely phenomenal, beautiful base, and what's really cool is it's a nice flat base. And you see this? The Lord of the Print. So this means that the guy that printed this for me, he didn't create this file. He didn't create this dragon. For Lord of the Print, for $40 a month, he has the ability to print this as well as like 15 other models every single month, forever. So with just $40 and a 3D printer, you can start printing things like this. And yes, it takes a little bit of time. You have to practice with your 3D printer, but I mean, you guys have seen some of the stuff that I've 3D printed. It doesn't take a lot if I can figure it out just casually. Oh yeah, I saw this one on Etsy. Yeah, lots of people sell these. This one was only like $90, I think, after shipping. 80. I think it might have even been a little bit less. I think it might have been $80. Small issue with the height on the foot, but nothing that a little bit of basic material won't fix. I think it just has a little bit to do with the size scaling. Just a slight little warp on it or something somewhere. No big deal. We're gonna be totally okay. I'm so excited to paint this, and like, you can see a couple of spots, like right here, right where the primer didn't quite take. It's a little sticky where the resin is in there. So we're gonna give it another prime, kind of seal it in there a little bit better. We'll probably hit it with like a matte varnish first. Oh, my cat just took a shit all the way over in that other corner over there. I was like, oh god, I smell poop. And I'm so used to being in like around the puppy. And I was like, he's never pooped inside. Oh no. This is gonna be a whole thing, but no, it's just the cat shit. Okay, we're good, we're good. That's fine. I was like, oh no, I smell shit. But no, don't worry, it's just cat shit. That's fine. Okay, cool. Let's dial back in on the frost giant. So yes, Shadow, as soon as things calm down a little bit, I'm planning like a big stream and we're gonna get that guy painted. I'm so excited. But frost giant is first. Let's go ahead and we're gonna use a really dark snakebite leather on the feet here, just to see if we can get that all covered up from the previous layers. Most of his feet are going to be covered in, god damn it, cat, that smells awful. Most of his feet are going to be covered in snow, so we'll be all good, but yeah. Let's go ahead, we're gonna light a candle. As long as I can find a source of fire. The one thing I don't have down here. Oh wait, no, I have matches. Okay, we're good, we're good. Yes! Light a candle. Jeez. It's 2:30 in the morning. Normally my cat doesn't use the bathroom at this time. But her schedule's a little bit messed up with the puppy too. My cat has never been a other animal person. We've tried to get other cats. But we usually end up having to give them to friends or family, and we eventually have just given up. And she did pretty good with Basil the whole time, but kind of did her own thing, and he did his own thing. He was old, and she was not having it. But this puppy, oh my god, guys, this puppy, she's doing amazing with. She watches him sleep, not like in a creepy way. but like in a I'm gonna watch over you sleep kind of way, and it's adorable. And I think it's because the puppy is smaller than her, so it's the first one that she hasn't been like intimidated by at all, which I was so worried about that. Yeah, I was really nervous, Shadow. I was like, because like it could have been bad. We're actually gonna use let's see which one of these. See, I want to use my new one because it's gunmetal gray, but I'm gonna stick with the duraluminum. Yeah, I like this. It's a very, very thin acrylic paint. It's designed for an airbrush, but I like to use it for not airbrush stuff. It's very thin, which is going to be great for the scale mill. And this will just be, again, another base coat we get down. Put down with a nice thick brusher. And you see all these little tiny rings in the chainmail? We'll be able to get all of that detail and texture to stay if we use a nice thin paint like this. As long as we keep it spread out. So yeah, I love going to Hobbytown USA for stuff because they have so many different kinds of paints for such a wide variety of uses. It's also why I like to use a bunch of different brands and such. We're gonna overpaint a little bit on the trim, no big deal. Oh, Shadow, did you ever get those Chinese dragons painted? Or should I not talk about that? I can not talk about that if we need to. No. That's okay. I mean, life happens. The only small issue we're going to have is something like this yellow hair. Normally I would go back over it again with another coat of our base coat, or like our primer, but we're just going to use 2 coats of the next color to kind of cover that up. And what's cool about using a paint this thin is we're going to also kind of get a contrast effect in that you're still going to be able to see all the rings and stuff because the paint's going to kind of settle. Oh yeah, I think I said this at the beginning of the stream during the first 10 minutes while I was on mute. And yeah, this dog is too smart. Like, don't get me wrong, it's awesome. He's only 10 weeks old. He's really advanced in a lot of ways, like how long he's able to hold it before he goes to the bathroom. He's already learned a bunch of commands. He's an Australian Shepherd Poodle mix, so he's going to be very smart. Just with the breed, and you know, I'm following a bunch of Zach George's videos for training the puppy, and oh my god, I remember years ago, Cesar Millan was the only guy that was really like mainstream media doing dog training, and it was all about like being the alpha male and dealing with problem dogs. But Zach George is, oh my god, if you have a dog, go check out his videos, because you're going to do something other than just, and we kind of hate the internet because every single issue that we ever have with the dog, they're like, you're not exercising him enough. And I'm like, guys, this dog is a puppy. He's meant to be sleeping somewhere between 18 to 20 hours a day. Exercise is not the issue. He gets plenty of exercise. He gets plenty of mental stimulus. Like, we already have him on like the level 3 slow trainer puzzle things. It's too smart. But we're gonna have issues with him later because of how smart he is. I'm sure of it. Okay, that's looking good. I think this is also gonna be some chainmail. So I'm just gonna grip it here on the base, and we're gonna go ahead and get this chainmail into. And you can see I'm trying not to brush it on, because if we were to brush it on, we would get a lot of bubbles. Which bubbles aren't bad, they burst and all that good stuff, but when you get a bunch of bubbles in your painting, it means you're allowing too much air to get into the thin layer of paint that you're applying, and you won't get a good even coat. Which sometimes it's unavoidable, but you want to try to avoid it where possible. Let's see, is that it? Yeah, that's some chainmail too. Looking good, looking good. That looks like girdle, this looks like more chainmail. The only issue too when you're using something like this, these airbrush paints, make sure you're stirring them every so often. I probably should have been stirring them a little bit more, but I just noticed when I looked down that it was getting a little separated. And that's because there's so much thinner in there because it's meant to be applied directly into an airbrush. I love using airbrush paints for just normal paint brushing because they're very thin. You don't usually have issues with flow or consistency, but you do need to make sure that you are stirring them up. Ooh, I like that Pokemon. It's like a ghost in a tree or something. Do I have anything that's going to help me catch it? Nope. I think I already have one though. Oh well. I'll try and catch it. Oh, I didn't have one, but I did catch it. That's exciting. Oh, Shadow, you said you're multitasking. So you're trying to, let me see if you messaged me back on Discord. Playing Monster Sanctuary and watching you. Okay. Why don't you have a second monitor? Did one of yours break? Okay. Let's actually use this same duraluminum on the weapons here, just on these accent parts for now. See what I'm talking about with all these bubbles? You can actually, let me zoom in here, see if you guys can get a good look at this all the way in here. What? No, look at the axe. Yeah. So all the bubbles settled, and it kind of, it fixed itself, but if you were to just like brush this like this, you'd get some unevenness in your application. So that's why I like to kind of do one of these. Just kind of almost stipple it all over the place. It gets into all the crevices. And you do still get some of those bubbles, but you won't get these big open spots where you've missed stuff. And then on like the blades here, we'll go ahead and give it a good old coat. But it's a pain to plug in. Oh, Shadow, I broke out my old orb weaver that I never really used before, and I'm using it to play League, and oh my god, I love it. It makes like the camera controls so much easier and such. Having a ton of fun with it. I was having a lot of trouble adjusting to camera control in League, but it's nice that it's just right there with my thumb. Oh, and orb weaver is I don't remember what it's. They made new ones. I think it's called the Tartarus now. Actually, I had to download the old Logitech, the old Razer Synapse, because this one isn't supported anymore. But it's one of these babies. So like over here on this little thumbstick is the arrow keys, and then spacebar. Oops. And like all these are mappable and stuff, and you have like a little button here that you can change Well, I can't right now because I don't have any other profiles set up because I accidentally kept pressing this button. But if you press this, you can set up a bunch of different profiles for like different games and stuff, and it's great because I can just have one hand on this and then one hand on the mouse. And then my abilities, leveling up my abilities, like flash and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. Absolutely love it. But apparently it's not really supported by Razer Synapse anymore because they came out with new ones. And it was never a super popular item except for people that played MOBAs, and most of them just stuck with, not MOBAs, our MMOs, and most of those people ended up just sticking with like a 12-button mouse like I use, and then Shift and Control and Alt. So that gives you what, like 48 really easily accessible keybinds, and that was usually enough for like even the most complicated World of Warcraft setups. So here's a little bit of the danger of using airbrush paints. You can see right here we're having some issues with getting it to adhere, because we're getting to mostly thinner and such, which is no big deal. We can kind of apply a bigger coat, thicker coat here, no worries. And we'll tidy this up later. But this is a real good base coat for us to work from. Okay, let's see if we have enough working pigment in this to get the other axe done. It looks like a slightly smaller axe, so we might be okay. When you're using a wet palette or super thin paints like airbrush paints, you're definitely going to have issues with your paint being too thin and not really adhering the way you want it to. But you see a lot of stuff online about, making sure to thin down your paints. You don't see a lot about what to do if your paint's too thin. Because unfortunately, the only thing you can really do is just kind of let it dry out a little bit. Or use new paint. There we go, that's a good enough base coat. Let's make sure we didn't miss any super glaring obvious spots like this. Right here. Back in there, yeah, we're good, we're good. Let's just go ahead and do the top too. I think we're gonna probably make it brown, but we'll go ahead and make it silver for now. Really gotta make sure to clean out your brush. And use these too. So I'm actually gonna break out the soap here, I think. As you can see right down there, right at my ferrule, you got a little bit of dried paint. You can see the silver down there right at the base of the brush. Not ideal. But we grab some of this. This is just a brush cleaner and refresher, I think. Oh yeah, refresher. Artist buddy, who actually does like professional art and stuff, got this for me. And look at that. No, it's not perfect, but this is kind of a shitty synthetic brush. So it's got a little bit more life in it. And yeah, we could be more careful with our brush. Use brushes with a longer ferrule like this. Or we can just kind of accept that, some brushes aren't meant to stick with you your whole life. And that's okay. Since I did put cleaner in this brush, I'm going to get a new cup. kind of add it to the stack here. I like to do that. So I know right now I have the one on the I got 3 cups here stacked on top of each other. The one on top is my newest, the one below it's cleaner, and the one below that I used something like I think a texture paste or something in it. Okay. We are getting there. Let's go ahead and do this stone stuff right here. We'll get a couple of these paints put away too. Where's the dark stone, I think. And then let's see here. Get these blues put away too. Finally got an item for increased flying, and it's been a pain in my butt the entire game. Increased flying, like you can fly for longer, or you can fly faster like in WoW. Or you can fly in new areas, also like in WoW, I guess. Can't evolve it yet. Yeah, the item. I don't care, but I have it. I don't know what it does yet, but I own it, so screw you guys that don't own it. How do you like that? Okay. We gotta play some video games in the channel. I think in the future, once things with the puppies calm down, you know, in 6 months. I had all these plans for getting the painting, and then friggin' life, man. So you evolve items? That's pretty cool, actually. I'm looking for a good tactical turn-based RPG. Evolve monsters with items. Oh, I understand. Okay, my bad. I misunderstood. Like a good tactical RPG, kind of like not XCOM, but XCOM. That's like I can play like from my Switch or my phone or something like that. Because playing a game at my computer is not really an option right now with the puppy. But the Switch, yeah, that works. Because I can play that upstairs and he's like down for a nap or something. Oh, and those of you watching on YouTube, the crafting videos currently are on a little bit of a pause. I might try and get some recording done in this next week, but there's just no way. They just take too much time. I have some projects planned out, but there's just not any time right now. And this is some Sombra Gray, right? Yeah. Get out of here, Orb Weaver. It's a nice cool and blue tone as well. It's definitely got some blue in there. I also have to be careful what Switch games I play too, because I have a Switch Lite, and it is not as powerful as a normal Switch. Ooh, Muck. I like Muck. That's a good, fun Pokemon. Nope, no Muck for me. I guess I should also post here. Oh no, I hate it when after you level something up it doesn't look as cool. I hate that. Trying to think of a good example of that for Pokemon. I think Scyther. I think I like the look of the normal Scyther as opposed to Skizor, personally. But that could definitely be more of a personal preference. Here we go. Okay. Good solid base coat down. Enjoy your bio break. I know I enjoyed mine. think what I love about this Sombra gray is that it looks really light when you first put it down, and it dries so dark. Whereas so many other paints do almost the exact opposite. They look really dark, and then by the time they dry, you're like, oh, you have zero coverage, sir. It takes really good to multiple layers. We're going to grab a little bit of plate mail metal here. And we're just going to, it should be a little bit darker than our duraluminum. And we're just going to add a little bit here to the tip of our brush. And we're just going to take it along the edges here. Right underneath, come on. Right underneath here. Oh wait, we're getting a little bit of the somber gray in there. That might need to dry a little bit. So we'll go ahead and grab a little bit of it from up here. We're just going to go ahead and add a little bit of a darker area along these edges. Just like underneath the armpits here. Down here in this little crevice. And there we go. Nothing crazy. Alrighty. Okay. Go ahead and put out that candle for now. We don't need that. Now that the cat shit smell is gone. Yay, Shadow is back. Shadow, while you were gone, we added some shadows. Because I missed you. Now it's like, I need Shadow. And of course, with everything going on, I have just a bunch of stress canker sores as usual. For once, it wasn't because of what I was eating, it was just that stuff. Let's see here. Interesting. I'm showing that I actually have 2 subscribers. I wonder, how do I see who they are? I know you're One Shadow for sure. Oh, the other one is my Prime. Interesting. No, the other one's Pie Master. Aw, thank you, Pie Master. John, I think you might actually be still streaming. You've been playing a bunch of New Worlds. If I'm not mistaken. He's been all about that life. Okay, so we're starting to get there. We're getting some colors in. Let's go ahead and do these feet next. Let's get some feet done. Let's try some snake bite leather. Now, I promise I won't get emotional, but I genuinely appreciate anyone that gives me this time. This means a lot. Again, I have been struggling the last couple weeks. Lots of bad things have happened. And anyone that gives me even just background noise in their evening, thank you. It means a lot. So I see some ropes in there, but we're just going to go ahead and paint over them for now. Focus on our shoes. I'll let that first foot dry before I do the other one, actually. A little bit. We're going to see if we can poke a catch this shark fish thing. I like that, okay. And we'll do some fun stuff with it. We'll add some noise and stuff in there. We want this foot to be a little bit darker, so we're going to lay this on a little bit thicker, because it is not on the forefront of the model, the way the front foot is. What just buzzed? bucks. That's funny. Alright, and because it is a very dark brown, we're going to use a little bit of really dark purple as our really deep shadow color. Oh, you like the fur? I like the fur too. Just a little dot, not a lot, just to get into the deep recesses here. We'll add a nice little bit of contrast in there. Oh, we just found some cool looking mountain goat things you haven't tamed yet. Well, then let's get to taming. They can't be walking around untamed. This big flat area we'll probably have to go over with a solid dark brown, I believe. This right here can be our contrast paints. Grab a little bit more of the Stylish Purple here. It's a really phenomenal dark brown to use. Or sorry, shade color for dark browns. Just for those deepest recesses. Just kind of blend it out with a little bit of the, snakebite leather. There are little booties. There we go. Oh, they're level 2 levels below my monster. Oh, that's always tough when you're like above them, so like you know you can win, but like it's gonna be resources. I hate that. There we go, we got our feet. I'm pretty happy with those boots. Okay, now we're gonna darken up the pants a little bit. As promised. If you do 4 to 5 stars well, you get them. Ooh, you get the mountain goat thingies. That's fun. See, I don't know a lot about your game, but I'm learning. Maybe I'm learning how to take risks that I don't need to take, but I don't care. I trust you, Shadow. 1 second. So once we're done with my stream, I'm going to pop over and I'm actually going to watch some of Pie Master's stream because I'm very interested in the world, but I don't know anything about it. So we're actually going to try some Golem and Flesh over top of this right there, but I'm going to cut it with a little bit of something because I don't want it to look just straight up like flesh. So we're going to take some Golem and Flesh and we're going to mix it with a little bit of Gorgrunta fur, just a little bit. And for this, we are going to use the contrast medium because we're not trying to blend the colors together. We're just trying to thin it down a little bit. So we'll start with the medium. And then we'll start with our lighter color here, which in this case is the Golem and Flesh. I need a lot of this because there's a lot of pants. Plus, paint is cheap. It seems expensive, but it's pretty cheap. You got the egg! We got the eggs! We've successfully done Easter. We've hidden the eggs from Jesus. We've tricked him. Oh no, now you're screwed if it's a boss battle next. Oh no, you got greedy, Shadow. Ashamed, I'm ashamed. Okay. Not a fan of this. These pants came out a little bit lighter, but that's totally workable. Totally okay. We can darken things up very easily with more shaders, but lightening them would be a little bit frustrating. Hey, Pie Master. I am, John, I'm doing okay. Had a little bit of a rough week, but doing okay now. Oh, that's a little bit of extra there. Yeah, I'm actually absolutely loving these pants, but it's just the wrong model. Oh, have you been out this week? Yeah, John, I'm actually out right now on bereavement time from work as well. So there's been some stuff going on with me as well after putting Mr. Basil down and then having to deal with issues with the puppy. Then turned around and had a death in the family. But we're getting through. Thank you very much, John. I think I will hit you up just to talk about some stuff as well. Jesus. That's okay. Actually, I hear my wife right now struggling with the puppy, so I'm going to cut this stream a little bit short. I'm going to take that puppy outside. I might pop back on in a little bit. Otherwise, I will catch you guys the next night that I go live. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to boot everyone over to Pie Master, where he is playing some New Worlds. I'm very excited for that, and I will hopefully have a little bit more work done on this guy for our next stream. But I'm going to go ahead and do that real quickly here before she loses her mind. So we're going to go ahead and raid John. Thank you so very much for joining, guys. Everyone, I'll do my sign off real quick. Everything that you do, especially like on your worst days and your best days, if you put the best parts of yourself into it, like, it's always going to be good enough. Like right now, this is not my best work, but I don't have the same parts of myself left after the last couple weeks that I've had to make it as good as before, but this is my best, so it's definitely good enough. Anyway, you folks have a great night, and I will catch you later. Again, thank you so much for all of your time. It means a lot. Thank you.